I'm Connie. I've seen y'all on LinkedIn. Thank you for joining. I'm really excited to share with you about using events. I've used events through the years, and back in 2022, I did regular event sessions. I hate to call them webinars, and we doubled revenue at a very small startup, and it was beautiful. I think that there's huge value. And now in LinkedIn, there's some amazing things happening here. Like, for example, I put this up, and in 1 week, I was able to get 44 people registered because I had a warm audience and I had been building my audience. So that's what we're going to talk about, is how you can create this warm lead machine. And then I've been this crazy person working in startups for 17 years as the first marketer. It can be totally applied to your businesses. You can do this. So that's what we're going to talk about. So let's roll. The challenge for all of you and all of us is, how do we find new business? So whether I'm working with a startup or I started my own fractional business, which I had resisted this. People said, 12, 14 years ago, Connie, you should have your own business and you should be an agency. I resisted, but it happened. So you initially you get clients from your network and referrals. And so that's where you've started from. But then pretty soon you get to a rough patch. It's like, where does the next one come? And so it's helpful to have a strategy and steps to accomplish that. For you, put in the chat where you're calling in from, and also what your biggest challenge about building your business is. Whether it's lead gen, whether it's, is it marketing? Is it sales? I struggle with the sales side, to be honest, but take a minute. And what challenges are you dealing with?
No one wants to tell you
No one's gonna chat. Okay.
because they're all having challenges.
Yeah, it's lead gen. I know it. It's a bane, but I'm gonna make it fun. I promise. So you're one person. There you go. Thank you, guys. I knew you could type. So you're a one person business and you have to do everything, right? I remember exploring, like doing consulting, and somebody said, they were from Texas, actually. They said, you have to spend 30% of your time on, finding new business. Okay, that's a lot. And I find that when I'm delivering services, I tend to, do that, get into that. When I was an employee, I'd work. So it's overwhelming. And there's so many suggestions, there's coaches, there's tools, there's free advice, we've been going to free events every week. We do a couple. There's just a lot out there, but after a while, it does make your head explode. What of these things are you trying for lead gen? Like, you can post on social, you can post on LinkedIn, cold email, LinkedIn outreach, automated tools, podcast, hire an agency. What things are you guys doing? Bill says where to start. It's a good question. Oh, Laura, closing. Yeah, I'm a great opener, but that closing is a challenge. It needs to be their idea for sure. All right.
Closing, you just ask for the order.
Yeah. Networking, creating content, building, and following. Okay. The LinkedIn and the blog. Oh, it's a content beast. Like, how do we feed the beast?
Okay.
Laura, yeah, me too. Like, I have a hard time with pricing because I'm just like, I'll do this for you. I'll help you. Free. Yeah. So Laura, you talk about the free part. I gave a session last month and I really had to focus on not teaching so much and really pare that back. Absolutely. I think Laura and I are soul sisters. So those are all tactics. And, I mean, I saw one coach in her newsletter. She said, well, you need to go and post and it'll take 18 to 24 months to kick in. We don't have that long. I mean, everyone I've talked to wants it like now, quickly. And so that posting content thing is sort of a trap, or it's a hole, a dark hole. I have a story about that. We'll get there. Lead gen agencies promise, but that's a difficult thing. It doesn't work. And sometimes you take that offer to market and it doesn't resonate, so nobody picks up on it. Mindset issues, like, for me, it's sales. So, and for me, it's selling a small amount. Like, I can go and talk to somebody about services for 4 figures, and that works. Send the contract, happy, but yeah. And so I've had to work through some mindset issues. And then accountability, right? Like we start going guns, and then it falls off and we end up just, So this picture, this person need to build a habit. The first picture I put there was a guy on a treadmill. Like, yeah, the gym. But the gym doesn't resonate with me because, like I joke that my $10 a month for Planet Fitness, it's a charity donation. Like I give the gym $10 a month every month, and I don't go there. And so I was like, no, this is like brushing your teeth, right? So it's a habit you have. Why do you do it? Because you know you should. It makes you feel good. But if you forget or aren't able to, right? You're out camping, it feels awful. Or you go on a trip and you forget your toothbrush. Dang. Like, so those are all, and so you need this habit that you like to do it. Otherwise, no work. So forget the gym too. That's like, but I do think it's building a muscle that you like to do. And so I've been the first marketer. Like I said, it's kind of masochistic, but many times. In 2008, I was invited to a startup. I had no idea. There was like, the founder was coding. There were, 3 other coders. And he's like, Connie, come and help me. And it was 2008. There was an economic issue. I had no idea, but I just did. And we went to acquisition and it was fun. But I needed to create, I call it my MVP, a minimum viable program. And it's really important because you can't do everything. You don't have a team of 5 people. You don't have specialties. So this program was so important. And it was the offer. What did people need? A content strategy that never gets done because you're one person. Virtual events I found were really a great thing. And then you have your website and your social channels. And then I use a simple newsletter. My rule is that it had to be sustainable by one person. And now when I work with fractionals, that's us or founders who want to do founder-led marketing. So the secret is really the smart strategy and the right tools. And tools can get expensive. So I say right price tools because I usually work bootstraps, so nobody has this massive budget. And I was in one of those unicorn startups. I was so uncomfortable by the amount of money they were wasting. Like it was incredible waste, huge. So my case study in 2022 was my last full-time employment. I was recruited to join this company, this small startup, and the CEO is spending $61,000 per month on 2 agencies, one for search and one for marketing to set up like HubSpot and set up the system or the engine. And he had ran like this for 3 months with no results. And his advisors were saying like, no, you can't continue. So I was brought in, I cut the agencies, I brought in my MVP, and in 10 months of this, we doubled revenue. And I've done it in other companies now with Fractional, but 30% of that net new revenue is from existing customers, because when I'm the only marketer, I am feeding the whole list, prospects and customers, right? Like I need a program that reaches out to everybody. And so what I decided on was every 2 weeks we do an event. And I called it Tips and Tricks, so it's branded. And then it's a manual testing QA tool. So it's geeky and it's, so we took each topic. I did the logistics, the founders showed up. Well, the founder and I decided on the topics, and the founder showed up and we did these sessions. And the first, like, when I started, he's like, Connie, I only have 6 topics. I'm like, oh man, this could be long. Like, if he runs out, we're in trouble. But the thing is that we did these short 10 to 15 minute session, 5 to 10 minute Q&A, and in 30 minutes, these were over. And so everyone turned into a recording. Each one is a blog post. The blog post has the video, YouTube video, and the transcript, which is great for SEO. And then we build a YouTube channel, which is the second largest search engine. And you'll see, like, this first one has 991 views. For a small company, putting a video on YouTube about a product, that's really good. And so none of them have over 1,000, but between 200 to 500, 900 views. That's amazing. And sales can use these as a tool. And then the final thing, putting the bow on the package, is the newsletter. So my newsletter format's super simple, and it's text. So essentially, here's the new upcoming event to register for. Here's the ones that you can, view the recordings. And here's the new features of the product and product updates. The customers love this. So the customers would call up sales and say, hey, I need this new feature. How can I pay for this? And sales loved it because they didn't have to do anything with the existing base. They could always be out doing the net new. And it's fun. Like that. And once you start rolling, it creates content for you that is useful. And one time we went to the session and there was no audience. Nobody showed up. Okay. So we just recorded it. I had the founder, we recorded it. I put up some questions. Super simple. So I did this without LinkedIn. And now with LinkedIn, it's much easier to do an event. Much, much, much. Because the audience is there. So you'll see other companies doing this. And if you watch in LinkedIn, you'll see people. You'll see coaches. You'll see other people doing it. But SaaStr is Jason Lemkin. He's kind of the one that inspired this, but he's grown his company to 100 million. Jason Lemkin, I follow closely because he has 270,000 followers on LinkedIn. Most of my clients have come from his audience. And then our B2B is Adam Robinson. And Adam was going to launch this product this spring, and he's been doing it in public on LinkedIn. And so I suggested to him to do this. And that man is at 3 million revenue now this year. And his events are going weekly. And it's a beautiful thing. Like, it's amazing. So it's not just these, of course, it's his product and his being on LinkedIn and all a combination, but this weekly session is so good for his audience. It literally brings us together every Tuesday at 3:00, right? Like it's a thing. Wednesday afternoon at 1 is SaaStr. And then I see Lemlist. It's a tool for LinkedIn outbound and email. They've started one now, and they've got a really nice page with all of you can see it's to watch the recording, register now, and there's a nice rolling display. So as you saw on Test Trigger, that was very rough. Like, here's links, but it works. Okay. So it's a thing. Why are these so effective? And you guys know this, so I don't even have to read the words, but literally, it's a time for you to learn something, a bigger topic than just reading a blog or a LinkedIn post. So it creates great content that you can use. One of the people, I know you're sitting here in the audience, but the last session a month ago, I sent out the recordings, and this person didn't come to that session, but then I sent out the recordings, they got around to it, and last Friday they contacted me and said, hey, Connie, I want to buy this. Okay, great. And so I never met them, and now they're sitting here in this audience. But what's beautiful is that, and that person said, just from your LinkedIn, I wouldn't have known or been convinced, but seeing the whole event shows. And so that's the thing that can help you here. And so I also think that there's a whole huge aspect around the process of creating these slides and thinking about what is it that I offer? How is it different? How can I present it to the world? And it'll make your talking points when you're on a call with a prospect so much better. So huge advocate of that. And then you're all like, Connie, I don't have a team. I know I haven't been talking about a team. I haven't been talking about a team at all. So, but seriously, you feel like, I wish I had a VA. I wish I had, and it starts from there and goes out balloons, right? So I was talking to a founder a couple of weeks ago and, just getting started, doesn't really have the money for hiring me for services. And then I heard him say, I think that I should learn how to do absolutely. Before you start hiring other people, whether it's an agency, whether it's a VA, whether it's whoever to do your work, you should have a really good, so there's founder-led sales, founder-led marketing. You should do it. It's really important. And that's what we're going to talk about. You don't want a team at the beginning. So I took my MVP and I brought it into LinkedIn. And I've been doing it myself. And the thing is you see that purple, like inbound and outbound. So when you're in a small company, they usually have sales and they're doing the outbound. So now I'm adding kind of another role. But when inbound and outbound work, it's fun. Like there's nothing more gratifying than getting a meeting or getting a lead. And that's what will energize you. And then you'll be like, oh, I haven't gotten any like meeting requests. Oh yeah, you need to go out and engage, Connie. Like Bill will say that. Oh, so Connie, you got to get out there. So the thing is that the offer is the most critical piece. If you don't have your offer of what somebody wants, then you're in trouble. Like it's not going to work. And then I say content strategy loosely here because I kind of have that covered a different way. But inbound and outbound are very important. And as much as I wanted to do virtual events, the whole thing on virtual events, I could talk for an hour and a half on virtual events, but I think the inbound and outbound are really important with the offer to get that and then have meetings and get the offer figured out. So forget the website, don't need it. I have one, but I don't send anybody there because it's not really finished and it doesn't matter. LinkedIn profile, get that optimized. You can use YouTube. You don't have to become a YouTube star though. It's okay. And the newsletter is optional too. You'll get there, but if you try to do all of this at once, it will make your brain hurt. It's not worth it. So last month, I did a session on my inbound. This is a program or this is an approach that's unique. I haven't seen anybody else talking about it. People will say, go out and comment. Okay. Some people will say, go out and comment for 2 or 3 hours a day. Like, no, my whole program, what you're seeing here, I'm talking about 3 to 4 hours a week as you learn it. But seriously, don't do that. The reality is that 4 or 5 well-placed comments a week will bring you leads. And when I make that comment, I can tell and I know, like I'll get 2 or 3 off of one. So here's how it works, why it works. And that's why doing this presentation last month, I came up with this diagram to show you that leaders have pains. We all have pains, but founders have pains too. That's why we come to these things. We join events, we join networks. So for example, it might be a private network, it might be Pavilion, it might be, there's so many. But in LinkedIn, there's these influencer networks and they're huge. Jason Lemkin has 270,000 followers. Adam Robinson has 100,000 now. He just crossed that. But these people are looking for solutions. 88% are reading. They're just reading in LinkedIn. They don't even make themselves known. They're just reading. And some are very addicted to these influencers. And so I have figured out a way, and I did this sort of accidentally 2 years ago when I came into LinkedIn and I needed a job and I was starting to look at, you know, who should I work with? But if you can put your comment and be more specific about it and talk about it, your experience, somebody will see that with that pain and they'll click through to your profile. They're inspired and they'll click through to your LinkedIn profile and they're like, maybe they could help me. And so they'll connect with you or else they'll book a meeting directly. When they connect with me, I'll connect and say, how can I help you? And then they'll tell me. And the thing is, they're such warm leads because it's their idea. Last year in June, I got on, so this guy connected with me and he said, I want to have a meeting. Okay. And they always want your first calendar appointment in the week. So Monday I met with him and we, 20 minutes talking about 10 minutes. He talks about what his problem is. 10 minutes I talk about what I can do. And at 20 minutes, if he asked for the price, I said, okay. Seriously, I booked him and started 3 days later. Like, converted him so fast. Most of my clients, though, take, 2-3 months to get their budget and go find that, so it's a 4-figure contract for 10 hours a week. But this is my world and I love it. Like, that was the first thing I did last month. I did that session. And now I'm adding to it because we're going to reinvent webinars. And we're not going to call them webinars, we can call them virtual sessions or events. But if you're a founder with a SaaS product, you can do this. You can do it yourself and maybe do once a month to start with. But the logistics aren't that bad. The tools are reasonably priced, but you can do what I did with Test Trigger. For fractional solopreneurs, the workshop or mastermind. So like Laura said, she has the problem of telling too much. So do I. But people don't want to know everything. They want to know what and why. And take the how out. Like I have to manually just take it out. But do not set up a mastermind. Like how many of you have went to this where, oh, this is a mastermind. I'm going to teach you everything I know. And they don't tell you anything, but it's a big sales session. Sales, sell, sell. And you feel like you've been just like, anyway, don't do that. But the beautiful thing about an event is that you could share your expertise. And you don't need tons of people signed up. All you need is a few quality people coming who are they have the pains that you can solve for. So we have 8 people here and 80 people signed up. But 8, that's great. I get this recording, I can send it out to the people who didn't come, and they can watch it on their free time. So this builds rapport. It lets people know who you are, know that you have a sense of humor, because this should be fun. So I have a 2-phased approach for this, because you can do this. Do you think you can do this? Anybody? Okay, Laura says yes, yes. All right. So the thing is last month I was talking to people. So I talked to like 60 fractionals. Just, what do you need? How are you doing? What are you doing? Whatever. And the thing is that they wanted something 30-day sprint. Okay, let's do this. So in the first 30 days, we're going to figure out the offer. I'm going to teach you how to do inbound. The outbound's interesting. It's different though. And then get meetings, and we're going to do a cycle until you get the offer, something that people really resonates with your target audience. So I'm working with HR, talent acquisition person, financial services, sales, and marketing. So helping you, because the problem is we all say, well, I do talent acquisition. Okay, but you need to get an offer down to something that's a pain point they have. And then once you start working with them, I have a client I've been working with for a year because we keep finding new things. At Christmas, he says, can you take over my whole marketing team? He has 3 lines of business. I'm like, no, I don't. You don't want to pay me. I don't think I should. I think you should stay in charge. It all worked out. And then the events can be added, because that outbound will create an audience for you that when you post the event, you'll get all kinds of people to sign up because you've been warming them up. And the content will come too. So, and I'm using AI because I have to. Like, AI has been transformational. I couldn't have worked with 3 clients and nope. So I believe that you can create your own opportunity. And when you see my path, you're going to see that this girl's been like, I've had careers. I have one career that's not listed there, but that's okay. Like, I just believe it. And I hit a plateau personally and I get bored and I need to be learning. And so I'm really excited about this phase because I get so much satisfaction getting off a phone call saying I helped that person. It's it's just so much. So you can create your own opportunity. I believe that. It's a grind to get there, but you're going to get to a point where you understand it, you can do it, and it'll be like brushing your teeth and you'll want to do it. Think so? Yeah, maybe. Not convinced yet. Here's the roadmap. Step 1 is an offer. Figuring that offer out is important. Building the audience through inbound and outbound. And then, like I said, the slides, the planning of the presentation is important. That will also help you figure out, I saw somebody talking about, a content strategy and content pillars, and he's a founder and he's like, I don't know, I'm just writing about what I care about. Exactly, but put a little structure around it. Then, like, now I'm delivering this presentation. This has been a journey for me. The one a month ago was really about inbound, but in talking to people, they need more. So this has evolved, and then following up. So who am I? I came out of college as a licensed teacher, high school, math and Spanish. Then I did a librarian, public library for 10 years. That's where I caught the technology bug. And I was on a leadership team. We went and, found an online card catalog software, brought it in. I did the training for the region. Up in northwestern Minnesota, it's very rural. And I wanted Wi-Fi for my patrons. It took me 2 years to convince my leader, but I got it. So I did the training for everybody on that. And then I was online in forums teaching women how to organize their digital images from their cameras. It was a really big problem. And so a software company from Vancouver, BC reached out and said, hey, Connie, what are you doing? Why are you bringing a new audience to our software? Their audience was male professional photographers, age 35 to 50. And anyway, so I joined them. My ex-husband was like, really? He's like, really? You're leaving a 10-year job that I was making 35,000 at? Like, you're leaving that? And ever since, I mean, I've doubled and tripled my income because it was nice, but I was bored. Like, there's time to move on. And so since then, the last 17 years, I've been working with startups and I love it. I think that there's so much to do. So early on in social media marketing and measurement, I was a thought leader. So I was invited to speak in 7 countries. I've been to India. I've been to Europe. Canada doesn't count, but anyway, it's exciting. It was fun. I love solving problems. I have a math and science background, but I love Canva and the graphics too. So all of that span, right and left brain. And I just love to continually learn. I want to share that with people, save you the time of going out and looking. So the social channels have been really good to me. And I was brought online in 2006, 2008. I ran into a founder on Twitter. Well, he actually reached out to me. He said, hey, Connie, can you take this social listening tool to market for me? Like, okay. And at the beginning, I told you that, 2008 was not a good economic time, but I didn't know. And so I just did it and it was fun. Then I went to Dell through my network. Dell, Dell's big, but Michael Dell says it's the largest startup in the world. So we'll call it a startup. Doesn't break my record. Last 2 jobs I was at was Techolution and Test Trigger. And so I have their company pages over here. I led the team at Dell when we were figuring out how can people from different regions post at different times and not, muckety muck it up. And then Techolution, I was there 4 years ago, IT services. I have 356,000 followers there now, and 59,000, this was 2 years ago. But the thing is, simple strategy, one post a week. And that's what I believe for now in LinkedIn, one post a week. And pretty soon it takes on its own life. So right now I am sitting with, I had 3,200 2 years ago followers, and I'm at 5,100, but I can feel it taking on a life of its own. When people come to find you, it's really exciting. And then all of my fractional clients reached out to me, which makes life easier. So I built this business last year, a year and a half ago, and I've been cruising through. And last April, I was really sick with a weird virus. And I decided that I needed to focus on me. I lost clients because I was sick for so long, and I just need to move on. I want to do this. I want to commit to this and helping people. And so I consider myself sort of as a growth rebel. I think that we need to just do it. And the rules that everybody puts on LinkedIn, you have to post every day. You should post 3 times a day. You should spend 3 hours every day, comment, whatever. And this whole thing about a copywriter, Lord, I'm a marketer, but please don't make me no. And so if you look at my content on LinkedIn, it's me. And it works, and people are okay. I've had founders say to me, Connie, it's like you're in my head. And that's what I want. I want people to feel that way. And so my focus is on what works, not following everybody's rules. I took a couple of courses, they were really expensive. And I found that one was self-serving. He's like, you need to be here 6 months. Well, yeah, he doesn't want people to move forward. So, and that's $600 a month. It's like, anyway, so I've tried some courses and the templates don't work. You need to do this and figure this out. So here we go. Here's the roadmap to this warm lead gen machine. I want to teach you to fish. Really, I do. You can hire me for my services, and that's fine, but prefer to teach you to fish. And the pineapple thing is just a weird, fun branding. One of the people, I took his class and he did watermelon. And so I'm like, yeah, why the pineapple? So the pineapple represents, so his view about the watermelon is it's kind of fun. And he explained whatever, watermelon truck, and they sold watermelons. In my view, the pineapple comes from quilting, and it was like a symbol for Hawaii, which sounds weird, but I just like, it's fun and it's memorable. And I make these little pineapple people with AI now. And I just think that it's, it's something. May not stick. I don't know. So I don't know if that answered your question, Fred, but it's quirky. And I think it takes the serious side off. Like, I can be really serious and intense, but the pineapple is, what happened was one day I saw a pineapple with sunglasses and I put it into a LinkedIn image. That's what happened. And now I make pineapple people. So we need to talk about these 5 steps. Offer. So I've been talking about this offer is so important, but it's hard too. And in the product world, we have product market fit, and it's a journey. So, they say you should go out and talk to clients, customers first, then build. And we don't, as I think fractionals, we don't tend to do that, or coaches. We're like, but you need to figure out what the problems are that you can. So what I did a year and a half ago was I had an idea what I could do. I met with people. It didn't really resonate. So then I had to tighten it up. And then in 10 minutes to be able to explain what I do, I had to get that messaging tighter and tighter. So I have made some GPTs. And so, it will help with the plan. But I do think that what's important is just that target audience and the messaging. And it takes time talking to people to figure it out. And you may already have figured it out, and that's great, but I will help with that. A lot of people are coming into fractional new now, and they don't have the marketing. So it's, like, I do talent Do this at the end. I'll show you my little GPTs. So building an audience. So what's really great about LinkedIn now is that we can use others' networks for the inbound, works super well, but it's not consistent, right? And so you need to do outbound, and I think people should do outbound. So for example, with Remy, I met with him in June and he's like, Connie, this isn't working. And he had hired agencies, didn't work. So in June we met and I said, well, try my inbound. In 3 weeks, he got 5 inbound meetings. Like I have a little video of his testimonial, but the first comment he made, he got a meeting. Like he was blown away. But the thing is that is not consistent. So now we've added outbound to his repertoire. And the first week, we got another couple of meetings for him. And the outbound is simply saying, hey, he's in New York City. You live in New York City. I'm networking with people in New York City. Sales was a really hard year in 2024. I help founders peel back the onion around their sales process, and then let's connect. That's simple. So he's building this audience of more people. And he took my inbound concept around networks and he went to New York City in person and he's been going around and meeting people with large networks. So from his outbound, he's already gotten 1 contract and we've only had it in place 2 weeks. Like that's exciting. The secret to the outbound is messaging. So you don't piss people off because they'll tell you. The other thing is search and filtering. So I've got it now. So in LinkedIn, native LinkedIn of the search and filtering. So for example, I was connecting with fractionals and I just set it up and people were saying to me, no, Connie, I'm looking for a job really. I just put this as a placeholder. I went, oh, okay. So then I thought about it and I thought, there's these people, the coaches out there. Thought, let's go to each coach and filter for the fractionals following them. Those people are already interested. And I will admit that's maybe how some of you are here. Like, because you're interested in following them and learning. So you're already on that journey far enough to have some pain points. So you're trying to learn. So I will admit to that. But if you can use things like that, because you don't want to just waste all your time on people who aren't interested or in the buying cycle. Anyway, and there's a lot of tools. I can help with the tools. I love tools, but I also think that we have to be practical. Folk has an amazing integration with LinkedIn. The Luma tool, I really like this because it adds the SMS. So like after this, I'll send out through the SMS link, the link to the event, of course, recording. And then if I do another event, you're going to get a notification of that. Like, so it's building an audience around Luma. So that's cool. I built a little GPT for LinkedIn profile because again, so many people coming into this don't have their profile optimized. It's an important thing. So planning, this is the part that's boring, but it's so important to tell your story. Like Bill could tell you how long it's taken me to put my story together. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time, but to force it together and to explain it and not have 84 paragraphs on every slide, it's really important. And then your little case studies, you need that for the commenting because you're not just saying, hey, great post. You're putting enough meat there so that somebody reads it and says, and it resonates and they go, I need to talk to this person. So I have help for this. Like I've made a few GPTs around event title. That's the hook. Like the hook is to have something interesting. I started this journey a year ago. I started this journey a year ago where I wanted to teach people, founders. And so Pete Nadolny is a founder. He's one of my fans, but he's just nice. So it's nice to have people who are fans of my work. I did this really like course from a spreadsheet. Bill's like, what are you doing? But whatever, it worked. You got to start somewhere. It's fine. Delivery presentation. gone. You know, building those slides with your offer and your value proposition. So Laura says to you, like, putting your sales cap on and asking for the order. It's hard. Adding extra value. So it depends on if you're, you know, if you're selling your services, you want them. So for me, when I get on a call with somebody, I want them in 20 minutes to ask me the price because I want them to be interested. I don't want to be the salesperson go follow up. Hey. I want them to ask for the price so we can talk about the details. I try to ask the budget question, but yeah, you know how that goes. Oh, what's your budget? And they're like, anyway, it's all fine. So the last thing for me is you're building content that you can use. So last month when I did my presentation, I have slides. I can take a slide, write about it on LinkedIn. You just make this content that, you know, that people want and they share. And I also have an AI tool for creating content. It's very simple. It's taking two documents. One is your professional experience, your business, what your business does. And then you put that into ChatGPT and you say, hey, do not make things up, just create content, and it creates nice, unique content that does need editing. So AI isn't the end story, but it really helps. So 2 weeks ago, a founder saw my comment and he's like, so he reaches out to me and goes, do you have some information about your services? I'm like, yeah. So I gave him a couple, but I don't like doing that because I don't have a conversation. I don't know what he needs. And so then we got on the phone call a week later and he says, if you were me, what would you do in the next 90 days? I love that question because I do 30, 60, 90s when I'm going to do my client work or when I was, you know, looking for a job. That 30, 60, 90 plan is the opportunity to have conversations about alignment because then day one, I just go. And so it's two people. They are founders and that's it, right? And he says, well, I think I should learn how to do this myself. It's a very good idea because if you go hire an agency or whatever, it's hard. So it is now the middle of October. And so January is coming. So if you do this now and we do the 30-day sprint, then you could be ready for an event for January. And, you know, 2024 has been a rough year. A lot of layoffs have happened in the last 2 or 3 years, like a lot. And people are starting to need services. And the fractional is an easy sell in because it's not this full-time job with that bill that goes with it. So what can you do in this next 90 days? But what can we do together? That's the question. So, Growth Rebel program. I think everybody should be a growth rebel. We should be making this work. There's nothing worse than going out and saying, okay, I'm going to write a blog post today. You know, I mean, my joke is it tofu, mofu, or bofu? Because there's this sales coach who talks that way and doesn't know what that means, but you don't have to worry about top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel, because it doesn't focus. Offer creation, inbound, and the inbound is pretty straightforward. Like it's almost so easy that people look at it and they're like, why didn't I think of it? Remy said, why didn't I think of this? I know but it's the way I work. And then, all right, Fred, bye. The outbound, get the outbound set up. Start gathering your target audience, work on your offer, get some meetings, and then we'll work on event strategy and execution. So the growth marketing zone community, I have a little circle community. I really try to make training easy. That was my biggest issue with these other courses is that, man, I was a teacher. I struggle with that stuff. Tool setup, save time. But the thing is that I want you to be successful. So one-on-one onboarding, and we have a weekly group coaching, which is good because then you can learn things you didn't know you needed to know. I'm going to give lifetime access to the content. I hate getting shut off. Like, it's very terminal. I have these AI GPTs I built. I'm going to add a module on teaching people how to make them. I think they're great lead magnets. They're way more interactive than a worksheet or a form or a PDF. So I have my AI content process, which I view it as training wheels, like getting you started to create content and then learning that you can take notes on what happens in your meetings in your days and just pulling ideas from that and then building. So that I view as training wheels to get started. Lead magnet course, it's AI prompts. Cold email. Cold email has its place. I think LinkedIn is a little saturated, but cold email, if you want to reach founders, is good. I have a swipe file of 2 years, and I was a librarian, so I think it's a problem with addiction. But anyway, so there's so many pieces around this that, like personal brand building, and there's a lot of other people. Like I follow the salespeople, learning, business development. And so I have a lot of content there that I'm going to share because I just think it's important to save you time. The last thing is if you haven't gotten a lead after 8 weeks, then I'll just continue to work with you because I use the word stubborn, but it's really tenacious. And we need to get it done right. So this isn't like dump in a bunch of money with this big trust and then you're going to walk away and be no better after. It just goes in the pile of the next course that you take. So the investment is $1,200 for one time. So it's just, I'm not doing monthly, I'm not doing subscription or 3 monthly payments of $4.25. I know what prices are out there, but I also think some of them are insane, people. So that's what I'm doing. So open to questions. I realize I've talked, so there's like 4 minutes, but we can go over, but I apologize for talking. But anyway, questions on anything? Questions on the inbound or outbound? I think, Bill, you can allow people to unmute themselves, or they can unmute themselves.
I think it's set up that way.
It's a meeting. Chris doesn't have. Bill's going to another call. Laura says it was clear. Okay, thank you. That's always one of those things, right? Like I'm taking this big topic and, do you guys think you can do it? Is it possible? Es posible? That's the hard question.
Okay.
All right. Anybody else have questions? We got Alex here, Maria.
Does anyone want to see Connie's GPT? You got a couple of minutes left.
I do.
There's only a few people here. Good show. Good show. At least one of them.
Yeah. So with the GPT, I have it asking questions. Thanks, Alex. So this is, I'm going to put my hat on as if I was a financial service person or financial advisor. So a marketing agency with 2 million revenue that is stuck and plateaued. And really, you want your clients to be stuck because that's what you're going to help them get unstuck. So they're getting new clients, but the revenue isn't increasing. So their costs are eating up. Oh, I did that too much, too fast. I have to ask the question. There we go. To describe who the ideal client is for your program. And then what is their main problem that you solve for them? So these are not very specific. If you give it much more, it'll be better. But I provide financial services. I review balance sheets and the P&L to identify problem areas and gaps. Describe the desired outcome that you want from them. So the desired outcome is to identify roadblocks and create a strategy and execution plan. Review their P&L. Oh, I got the review their P&L plan. And I'm doing a bad job with this demo. All right, so it is repeating. So it's giving some ideas of some programs and offer names. And you can pick one. You can pick one and say a revenue roadmap. And say, please suggest some lead magnets. And I like to teach people to talk to the AI. Many of you are probably already doing it, but I have a chat and ask more questions. And so then it'll give you ideas for lead magnets. It's really brilliant. Like things that you never thought of. That's the whole point, literally. So it's suggesting free financial health checkup, an agency profit margin calculator, a revenue plateau checklist. I don't know what that is, but I'm not a financial advisor either. Let's just say this. I find that very boring. I have one, but yeah. Free P&L audit template for agencies. That's nice. Suggesting a masterclass. Financial roadblocks quiz.
And you
Free
can
strategy session.
you
Yeah.
can continue to ask chat, ask in this or any chat GPT to develop, could say, give me more detail for number 9, and it will
Yeah.
just keep going until it does your whole program, and then you can edit it. Anyway, that's how Connie's developed all these custom ones to go along with her program. So she loves to do it.
That's what I do. It's fun. I can teach you how to. It's not brain surgery at all. So thank you guys for coming. We appreciate it. This is what I'm doing. Very nice to meet you, Laura. We haven't met yet, but it's good. It's good. All right, let's wrap it up.